What's up everyone? Welcome back to the Yoga Tantra Healing channel. In today's video, I want to talk a bit about Bhakti Yoga, how there are many different forms and what we could say, classes or different ways of approaching yoga. Now in the West, this word has been turned and commercialized into postures, stretching classes, maybe a bit of mindfulness. And sometimes the spirituality is thrown in there as, just like an added benefit. But in the reality of what yoga teaches, bhakti, or devotion to the divine, devotion to God, devotion to your divine calling, not just an outward expression of it, but how that devotion aligns you with your divine calling. This is what yoga is all about. This is what Kundalini awakening is all about. It's not just all about exercises. And I emphasize that all over my channel, so you can look at the various things that we share here on the channel, and you'll find that most of what we share is actually more in the lines of Bhakti Yoga and Nada Yoga, which is the yoga of sound. But today I want to talk about Bhakti, specifically that word Bhakti and devotion. Something we've lost in the modern world is devotion. True devotion, not an image of God, or this is the right way to do it, this is the right way to worship. In yoga, we see the divine as one. And everything else, all these forms of creation, are here to help each of us connect from the individual to the whole with the one that, in the West they call God. God isn't a word in the ancient traditions. It isn't the name, it isn't a title that we can give, because we could give a million names to God, to goddess, to source, to spirit, and try to pinpoint it and say this is the only way to do it. But it's from the heart, not from the mind. Remember, words, languages come from the mind, but the heart is where devotion comes from. So Bhakti Yoga is that path of devotion or surrender to the divine. Whether you connect through the Divine Mother, whether you connect more through a religious lens of the monotheistic version of God. In the yogic traditions, again, I will emphasize that Brahman, or the absolute one, the source, is where everything else stems from. And so we can look at all of these things from different lenses. But no matter what your approach is, again, I guess I can just emphasize this. So in the Brahmanical traditions of yoga, we could see that monotheistic lens. There's only the impersonal Brahman. There is only the absolute, and all these forms and ways of worship are just, rituals and added. And then we look into Tantra and we see the vast diversity of ways of connecting to that same Brahman that manifests into all these beings, all these emanations, we could even say. If we can get into that, you will find a path to the one. Again, it doesn't matter. What matters is your heart. Is your heart in it? You could watch all my videos, you could do all the mantras in the world, you could do all of the religions in the world, and then your mind's just full of all these different things. Or you could just say, only my religion's right, your religion's wrong, because that's what they said, these people said, this is the only God. But that isn't truth, because someone who hasn't read that could be living by your word more than the people that profess to believe it. So who's to say that those that never read a certain book or a certain scripture are any less connected to God than anyone else? And if we look at the yogic traditions, how diverse they are. These are some of the most devoted people to God, if we can use that word. Because it's the words that tend to confuse us. Like I said, if there's no devotion in your heart, these words are meaningless. Everything I share is meaningless unless my heart is in it. The songs that I sing, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a musician. They would mean nothing if I didn't live the words that are in my songs. Because that's where they come from, is from my life, from my experience, from wisdoms that I've learned from and walked in. Not just blindly followed, but I put my heart in it and I said, I have to live this. If I'm going to speak these truths, if I'm going to sing these words, if I'm going to bring these melodies to life, I'm going to live them. So all of our songs are again an offering of Bhakti. I'm here to maybe bring that image a little clearer for you now. So hopefully you're sticking with me. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if this is hitting you in the heart chakra. I know some people say the longest journey we'll ever take, or some quote, is from the mind to the heart. And in spirituality especially, everyone wants the third eye, or they want their kundalini awakening, they want that higher experience. Without the heart in it, you'll never get those things. And if you do, through external measures, or if you believe that your religion is the only one, your heart's out of it because you forgot the whole thing. Unity, oneness. Yoga, again, union. It comes from the heart. To love God is to love one another. When Jesus in Scripture says the whole law is to love God with all their heart and mind, and to love their neighbor as their self, he isn't just saying that. He's saying all the laws, all the dogmas, all the doctrines, none of that means anything without the love that he embodied for us. That's why we worship him. Because he is one with the Father, one with the Absolute. And we just forgot because the words were written in a certain language, and then they changed it again, and they changed it again, and they changed it again, and then they say, this is the only way to do it. It's a game of the mind. But his way, Yahweh, is love. Devotion. Again, you could say it's Bhakti. It's just a different tradition. It's a way of looking at the exact same teachings that Jesus or Yeshua gave to us in his teachings, his parables. We go to India and their scriptures, their teachings, their principles. It's the same thing. And then they have religious dogmas and doctrines around it too, just like any other religion. Then they put these people into a religion or a caste, and all those things. And none of that exists in that unity. When you experience yoga, not the stretches, not even the mantras, when you experience union with your source, your creator, and you come back to the place, you will see that our entire existence is to love one another, to love the earth, to love and protect children as men, to protect women, to protect families, to protect what is sacred and true and real. Because at the end of the day, all of those things of the mind, all these different divisions, the mind is so good at this is that, and that is this, and this isn't that, so that can't be this. That's what a mind does, is it takes things and it puts things into compartments and then puts it somewhere in the mind and says, all right, that's a good spot for it. Like we put, we go to the store and the department store and buy these things and put it in our compartments and our carts, and then we put it on the shelf in compartments. And some things are like, I'm just going to keep that there. I'm just going to keep that, It's like what the mind does. It puts something on a shelf. Maybe places it even above itself, or, external to itself, I should say. But bhakti is that remembrance of surrender to the divine, is to let go of this little thing that we're so attached to, this identity, or, this attachment to a body, attachment to a mind, religion, identity, whatever complex you want to put around that body or that being that you are. And Bhakti takes us back to, what is your will, Father? What is your will, Mother? What is your will? Teach me that so I can be in that. And no matter which path you're walking, if it's coming from that Bhakti, you've already risen above the lower three centers that govern the lower three chakras, that govern the physical reality. So now you can actually experience the saying heaven on earth as in heaven, your heart, your connection to what is spiritual, what is unseen. You know, a lot of people throw away faith nowadays and say, oh, faith is blind belief. Again, Bhakti is synonymous, essentially, with faith. Trusting in God, trusting in Spirit to guide us, to teach us, to lead us in what is right and what is true, and to correct us when we are wrong or when we miss the mark. And they say sin is missing the mark. But God would never hate us for something we've done if we can commit back to love and do something with a new mind, a new heart, a new being, a new body even. That's why everything can start to become an act of devotion or bhakti or faith. Faithfulness, having faith within us. Because as we do these things with faith, not just blind faith, it's good to have knowledge, you could say. Everyone wants more knowledge nowadays. They say knowledge is power. Or I say love is the true power. Forgiveness, devotion to what is real and what is lasting. If we take a look at the earth, she needs us too. She needs our devotion. Our bodies, the temple of the divine, the temple of the Most High is the body. So are you going to keep the temple clean? If you do, if you choose to eat and live a little more clean, especially in today's world full of toxic chemicals, and just as a side note, toxic chemicals and radiation and EMFs and distorted frequencies and everything in between to disrupt the natural harmony of your body temple, if we can restore that, that is an act of devotion. Taking care of this body, realizing that it's a temporary experience. That'll get you out of those sins, you could say, those lower centers if you want them to be lower. But once you emerge through all the chakras and come back to the heart, you realize that the physical is what roots and grounds the spiritual. That's why the anahata, again, is the two triangles merging together. Start tetrahedron. And there's religious connotation to that symbol, and there's all sorts of people that, oh, this is that, and this means that. And I don't really play those games here, but thank you for inquiring. You can reach out to us for lessons, actual yoga practice, from asana to bhakti to kundalini to kriya, pranayama, all of the things. We share all those in our lessons. You can go over on Patreon and book a session with us. Monthly, subscribe, or you can just book a single session over on our website. The links are always in the description. But I wanted to offer this quick video today of what bhakti really is, of how devotion will take you farther than the world could ever go, because the world doesn't have love, divine love. I'm not talking material love. I'm not talking about loving your money and your possessions. I'm not talking about loving your wife and your kids only, but then you're mean to your neighbor. I'm not talking about that one-sided love. I'm talking about divine love, Jah love. love that comes from source, that nourishes everything, the good and the evil. Everyone is nourished and held in God's love and mercy. And it's up to each of us to choose that real love, to go and be of service, not just to ourselves, not just seeking ourselves and making only the people we love happy, but we hate everyone else. We hate the world. We hate these people. We hate the enemy, so much division. And you have to be strong. You have to be able to stand up for something real and defend yourself, defend what is real. But at the same time, you can do it with love, with devotion, with bhakti. And that is a form of yoga. Just, giving someone a smile or a wave on the street, being a decent person. Just like, hey, how's it going? Have a good day. It's a beautiful day outside. Or, oh, I really loved what you shared there. That really brought joy to my heart. That brought joy to my life. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being that. Thank you for what you do. Those simple things. So we take it from the macro, devotion to God, to then again, love for God as the first most important thing that governs everything we do, especially in this path of yoga and awakening. If you want Kundalini awakening, if you want all this other stuff I talk about, there's no point without love. It's pointless. All the powers and gifts, even that's even written about in the New Testament as well. What's the point of any of these gifts of the Spirit without love, the binding thing that makes us unified and whole again? Wholesomeness. There's just plenty of trickery and sickery and all sorts of other things that we can see just aren't right. But like I said, keep that love in your heart, even for those people. You can love from a distance too, if you have to. You don't have to put up with toxic behavior. But you can be the one that heals. I can be the one that heals and chooses a different reality. This is building the new earth. This is manifesting Christ consciousness. This is manifesting what love, one love, is meant to embody. So check out some of our other work. Again, you can always reach out to me. The link's in the description. I have my music channel and all of these mantras, this bhakti yoga that to me is a devotion of my heart. These things come to me and I allow them to come through me. Not in a forced way. I could just do everything and give everything away to everyone. And people would probably do handstands and whatever. But again, this is a work of love, all these things we create. So do enjoy them, if you will, and stay tuned for more. Subscribe, reach out to us, get in connect, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. If you want a personal connection with us, you can always reach out to us, and I'd be happy to get in contact with you as soon as I can. Much love. Namaste.